Welcome back. The Between Stars and Suns, Season 2, Episode 9. Last time, I think I laid it out in the chat. I think the important parts are Bout Club, demonic date, and sitting down to have a talk with a mother. So if I have forgotten anything, or if you guys remember anything very specific to your characters that you'd like to bring up, please do.
I'd forgotten too, but now you've reminded me and I'm very excited.
Okay, then. Do I dare ask then about a recap? It's been a couple of weeks for anybody watching the video, so that's why we're just having a little bit of a memory bump, memory blip. If anybody needs a refresher or wants to remember something specific, please mention it. But as far as I know, those are the three important things that are supposed to be happening at night phase. So, which is what we're going to be starting off with this session. All right. So, night phase. Oh, and then just as a review, I have Ernest owing me a Mask of the Past, like for around dawn, and then Sir Atticus, whenever you feel Darkened Threshold comes into play. Probably should do that at some point soon. And then, yeah, there are people with conditions on the board. This is going to be a very interesting night phase. And we are doing For the Unseen, as a review, All the Lost Children. This is on line 51, G and H. Okay. Tonight, an angel claiming to be... Tonight, an angel claiming to be from the dark side of the moon, a boy who never grew up, hoodwinks unfortunate children from the streets of London into joining him as pawns in a magical land of violence and adventure. All right, so that's what we're going to begin with for the night phase. All right, this first prompt is for everyone. In the shadow of Parliament, a malnourished barefoot girl tucks her legs up under herself, shivering. Even before the angel alights beside her, the girl glimpses another world in the flames of the matches she uses to keep warm. Paint the scene. What visions of a world far differ from London does she witness? Visions that convince her to take the angel's hand.
She sees a long banquet table, and on top of it are all manner of desserts and freshly baked goods and even meats. Everything is so vibrantly colored, though, psychedelically colored even. There's a roast duck, but it's this vibrant lavender color. There's cakes that are towering, but they're frosted with this sort of psychedelic marbling color on it. And all the children who are at this table are just sort of throwing food at each other, eating it, stuffing it into their mouths, just having a great time.
I want to put that banquet table underneath a canopy of palm trees on a rocky, sandy shore leading out into teal blue waters, the like she's never seen, kind of echoing all of the tones in the food, the jewel tones kind of sink off into a horizon, as if it was full of endless possibility.
This place must be magical, because looking out from the shore, you can see mermaids lounging on rocks, brushing their hair. Very beautiful scales, a variety of colors, blues, purples, greens.
Everyone there seems happy. Compared to the London that she sees, the dreariness, the darkness, the struggles, everyone seems to be relaxed, at peace, and happy together.
Let's start with Ernest. Ernest, you were heading over to Bout Club, I believe, which is over at the unfinished arcade of a Gothic church, still empty of pews. The thud of fists on flesh, air humid with sweat, and that penny-sharp smell of blood. Paint the scene, and this is for everyone. Two fighters trade blows in the improvised ring, both beaten and bloody, as a raucous crowd of men cheer them on. What about this spectacle do you find beautiful?
In the jawlines of the fighters and in the faces of all the men watching and cheering and carousing, there is an intensity, a dedication. You can see that they have trained and practiced, and this is the culmination of a lot of effort. And that in and of itself is something that Ernest can admire, because he too, with the dedication to stagecraft, knows that sometimes you must suffer to achieve greatness.
There's a level of intimacy here. This is a place where these men can fully unburden themselves of everything that's been weighing them down in the daytime. And even though they're beating the shit out of each other at the end of each fight, they're embracing, they're hugging, they're even kissing, not in this sexual way, though maybe some might be, but it's overall more of a, a camaraderie feeling, a feeling of we survived this, we've survived London, we're better men, at least tonight.
There's encouragement in the cheers. It's not just that they're not betting on who's going to win for profit. They're cheering each other on. If one falls, they wait to see if he gets up. And if he doesn't, they go and make sure that he's all right. There is care despite this destruction. There's this air of maintaining the dignity of the defeated alongside the praise for the victor.
Athleticism is beautiful in its own right, but athleticism combined with violence is beautiful. At least people of London have a desire to let loose, to actually finally be violent, but between the sweats, between the bruises, between tenderness and kisses, sometimes you want to hit, but deep down, sometimes you just want to be hit, to just feel something.
That is the scene that plays out before you make your way to what serves as a door, barring your way. And in front of that door is a squat and very, very solid individual. Looks like a square, bald head, doesn't smile at all. And has his arms folded and his cap down low over his eyes. And he just grunts at you as you make your way to the door. What are you doing here?
Ernest this evening is dressed much more simply as far as fashion is concerned, but there's still plenty of cravats, and tonight is wearing a Noah mask that looks like a large cat with the furrowed features. And we'll just stride up to the man and say, "Brick, my good man, it's so lovely to see you. I know it's been so long."
I don't know you. What you doing here?
Well, I'm not supposed to talk about it, am I?
Ah.
You don't remember me? I'm wounded. Brick, we drank the entire evening away. You told me how your rage is really fueled by a feeling of inadequacy and your shortness, that you feel damaged by the relationship with your father.
Are you evading a move? Or are you using presence to exert some influence?
Presence only at this point.
Okay, because I'm like, wow, like maybe like Brick wasn't even like thinking that hard. It might hurt him. Yeah.
Well, there's that too, and I think Ernest knows how to inflict that kind of pain
Yes.
to get into a door. So yes, just presence to see if
Okay.
I can move past this man.
Sure. Yeah. So this will be a night move. Yep.
Okay. Do I have to say what I'm afraid is going to happen for a night move?
Yeah.
Yeah. What does Ernest fear in this moment? I think a physical confrontation.
Hmm,
He definitely avoided a lot of violence in the last bar brawl that he was kind of like on the outskirts of, but
sure.
getting punched in the face is actually really horrifying, because if my mask breaks, that's just like a empty space, and now I have to deal with a human reaction to what I am now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Although that could be good too. Who knows? Let's find out.
Okay. It's a 6 on the dice, plus I think I have a 2 for presence.
Okay. So that's an 8. Good.
Yes.
All right. Come back to that. Sir Atticus, are you going in search? Are you just going to go directly back to the apartment above the shop? Where are you trying to find La Hortencia?
Yeah, I think I'm gonna go back to the shop and look around again without Rag. Now that we know the place is trapped, maybe be a little more careful. See
What
if
should I
maybe
do,
there's-
sir? I mean, it, what? How, how do I feed or let Lady Abigail have a drink?
She should be sated for the moment, boy.
Okay.
It is a discussion that does need to be settled.
Yes, sir.
Both her and you.
Yes, sir. I'll hold down the house.
Yes. I'll give him the bestiary
Okay.
and say, study it, familiarize yourself with the contents, and think about what I offered, Rag. If this is too much, and there are things that are beyond what's in this tome, you can walk away now.
Yes, sir.
And as I'm going out, one last thing, Rag. Do not go to Shoreditch tonight.
Sir?
There are costs to the hunt, beyond just the heroism of fighting monsters. One must prepare the way.
I think as you leave, I think he's just frowning after you, holding the bestiary to his chest. And then he'll close the door behind you. We're gonna fast forward real quick. You find yourself. How do you get into the shop?
Because before Rag picked the lock,
Mm-hmm.
and it's locked now.
Yes.
I knock.
Interesting. For funsies. Night move. What do you think is going to happen if you fail or lose your nerve?
What would I be rolling with? Presence? Sensitivity? Composure?
Vitality.
Okay. I am afraid that La Hortencia gets the jump on me by jumping from the second story and attacking Atticus out in the streets.
No, I'm going to say it's much worse. I think that you will fall for a trap and she will activate a panel trap that opens out underneath you and slides you right.
Into the murder pit?
Yes.
All right. Okay, let's go.
Let's go.
Ooh, all right. Go starting strong. That is a 7.
Okay. I mean, you still succeed. So, with a complication. All right. Come back to that. Oh boy. Liat, please tell me, how do you prepare for this meeting with the demon?
Well, I, of course, don't prepare anything myself. That's what my man is for, Abdurrahman. So Abdurrahman is, he's setting out seating, he's setting out tea, and I think maybe even baklava, maybe like a nice little tray of it, because who doesn't love baklava? And she's got some incense going. She's also brought, what else has she brought? I think that's it for now. She might bring some other things in case the demon gets hungry, but for now, I think she's just setting a very pleasant, genteel mood. Very, a little bit of like a salon vibe. Come here, hang out.
What is she dressed like?
She is actually pretty casual. She has her sort of crown of gold coins on. But I think she's wearing in this sort of ironic way. She's wearing all white, sort of virginal white, if you will, caftan.
And Dame Georgie, do you think you would have come home at all in the interim? Or do you think that the demon would have proposed waiting or having a little fun before you came home?
I think the demon tried to propose having a little bit fun before coming home, but I refused to have fun. So the demon will said, "Well, fair enough. Then they won't come home until it's time." So, yeah.
Gotcha.
So it's a little bit of petty argument back and forth. It's time.
I'm gonna say, as you come home, I think the shadow of the demon is flitting about, not too far away, but causing some bit of presence as you make your way down the street, as you make your way down to Hargrave House. I'm assuming you're not taking a carriage, you're just doing a leisurely walk.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I think in your presence with the demon as in tow or overseeing things, I think milk spoils, flowers on roadside stands will wilt, and I think there will be children and animals that will get a whiff of something, whether before you or after you, and just look around and wonder what help they can ask of their gods as something wicked this way comes. Make your way back to Hargrave House. How do you come into Hargrave House?
Through the front door, of course. Why else would I go elsewhere? It's my home. Even if I do have a demon in tow, Hargrave House is prepared for all sorts of inconvenience.
I think that big mirror in the foyer is reflecting not only your very confident looking expression on your face, Dame Georgie, but also a shadow, maybe a couple of shadows, your own and something else as you pass. Liat, I think you don't hear anything aside from Dame Georgie's footfalls as they approach. Now, is this in your room or is this in the salon with the young men that are waiting?
No, I think I've dismissed this. I've dismissed the young men from the salon up to my room at this point.
Okay.
So we're occupying the salon now, and I think the reason she's wearing the white caftan is because she needed something to cover up with afterwards.
Okay, got it. Okay. However casually you're sitting there or laying there or what have you, I guess it's Dame Georgie that comes to the door.
And is he possessed, or is it just Dame Georgie?
Can you tell, you think?
I think I'd be able to tell.
What is the one thing that tips you off as soon as Dame Georgie comes in?
I think it's, as you mentioned, I think it's like that second shadow that's sort of moving independently, like jerking.
Dame Georgie, do you speak or do you wait until the demon takes over?
Georgie, welcome. You brought a guest.
I think I wait until the demon speaks because I want to see this conversation sort of as an eavesdropper, as it were.
I think it is like the shadow. That second shadow turns into like a crawling beast. Doesn't have a weight to Georgie, at least, but to you, Liat, it looks like it is looming like you see a shadowy claw like make its way down Dame Georgie's chest and arm, and then a figure, or this entity that is creating half creature, half Dame Georgie's shadow. And you hear a burbling growl from it as it says, "I'm here."
Oh, fun. I have baklava. Do you like baklava? It's freshly made. My man Abdurrahman, he's fantastic. He's been making it for centuries. Really perfected the recipe.
Long time.
Yes, well, that's what centuries are. Quite long.
I think Dame Georgie, you will feel the demon sink into your arm as it has your arm reach down and grab, not politely, grab some baklava from the tray and will stuff it into its mouth. Like your hand looks like it's throwing it back, but I mean, it's literally putting it into the demon's mouth. And as the demon puts its mouth over your hand, you feel a chill that it's like getting frostbite within a few seconds.
And does it meet your standards?
Flesh tastier.
No. We can arrange something of that sort later. However, we have matters to discuss. If you don't mind, please. And she'll gesture to the seat across from her.
Sit.
Yes, you have a body. Use it.
So, Dame Georgie, night move.
Oh
The demon
no.
is going to try and exert some influence. Let's see some conditions here. What do you have?
Just wanted him to sit down.
I know, but I mean, it's kind of like, do you want the demon to do wholesale, or do you want, do you mind Dame Georgie overhearing this?
Think since this is night move, I get to say what I'm afraid of might happening.
Yep.
I think I'm afraid of losing control entirely and not getting it back, like the deal that we made.
That's pretty clear. Yeah, I think the demon, for the spin that you did not allow the demon take earlier, the demon is going to drive your body like a stolen carriage. So, sensitivity, just in case I
Yeah,
God.
yeah, and I think I'm probably going to get disadvantage because I do have dark desires,
Yeah.
and they aren't misaligned with the demon's desires. So here we go. So that's a 1.
Oh,
That is the lowest possibility I could have rolled.
yeah, I think you're gonna be pretty much subsumed for a while. Unless you want to mark a mask of some sort.
I see like a bunch of head nods from like everyone else. So I think I'm gonna keep the miss.
Hold on a second. Okay, hold on. Let's do some parameters here. So you're saying you're gonna run with this miss and you're gonna let the demon drive you like a stolen car.
Yeah. Yeah, I think this is Liat's problem now.
Oh dear.
You say problem, I say party.
Probably. I think in your consciousness, as you feel the shadow in your brain like loom over you and start to make your conscious space very dark, I think you'll hear in your mind, in your inner ear, "I see a better bargain now. Thank you for letting me use you." And that laugh will follow you down as you know no more for a time. You sure you're okay with this? I mean, I'm telling you. I mean, it's just,
uh,
you're out of the scene.
Yeah, I'm fine. Yeah. I'm really interested in Liat's plan here because there is some stuff happening in chat, lots of theories, as it were. So
Okay.
I will offer up commentary on the scene if that helps any.
Okay. All right, great. Awesome. Tell me what you see as you can see the demon sink into Georgie's body to let you know that the demon's here fully partying forward.
I think it's relaxation. I think, and Kanaan can obviously correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that there's a little bit of high strongness to Georgie at all times to some degree. And I think that in that moment, it's just full submission. And there's a confidence to him that even with his new vampiric power, he doesn't possess. It's just like, he's got this instant swag to him. He just sort of reclines in the chair and he probably even takes up like one of the baklava and just puts it to his mouth and, smiles and smirks. And there's just this almost sexiness to it that Liat is not familiar with from Georgie.
Wow. Oh my gosh. All right. We are going to go back to the unseen. Sarah, Mr. Clarence, age 64, the leader of a band of ruffians occupying the great clock tower of London, verbally lashes his eldest charge, a boy named Toby, 13, for the last time. Mr. Clarence wrenches open the door on the clock face and makes due a threat he had been nursing for years to toss Toby into the night. The angel, however, springs from his perch on the hour hand and elegantly catches Toby before he kisses the cobbles. Mr. Clarence never finds Toby's body. From this night onward, how will Mr. Clarence attempt to change his ways, haunted by his actions and the mystery of Toby's disappearance?
He doesn't take concrete actions to change his ways. He is an old man and he is set in his ways, but every time he feels his temper begin to flare and he starts to go to shout, his body just goes limp and he collapses onto the floor and he completely blocks out, as if there is some mental trauma there that he just cannot overcome. And so his charges will try and inspire that ire and poke sticks at him and taunt him and curse at him, and he is no longer able to maintain control, and they just use him and this space in order to further their own plans.
I think as you're saying these things to Brick, he's starting to recall and starting to remember, and then he kind of loosens up slightly, still arms folded, but then like he'll actually look up at you from underneath his cap and go, yeah, all right. And then he will come round, and from the looks behind you for the guys coming up, it looks like this is not usual behavior for Brick. But he will come round and he will clap you on the back and say, yeah, let's come over here. You need to be introduced to the announcer for this evening. Welcome to Bout Club. And no hesitation for him saying it. And he brings you over to kind of a flamboyantly dressed fellow, like a little bit theatrical. And you can hear him call over even the ruckus that's happening nearer to the ring as he's making announcements about what's going on, as two fighters in the middle like bloody themselves to a near pulp. And then he's kind of splattered over in blood himself as he turns to acknowledge Brick bringing you up to him. Ah! What's this, Brick? You leaving your post? Who's this, then, that's so special to be introduced to me, sir? And Brick comes up to this guy and whispers in his ear, this fellow will come down to you with a bloody hand outstretched. Colin Yardley, jester to my friends. How are you? You were sick. What was your name again? I am so sorry.
You could call me Ernest, Jester. What a fantastic, jovial, wonderful name. Oh, it suits you so.
Out of little trouble hiding. Well, I'm going to assume that you've gotten your face beaten in a few mites to wear that mask here when it's all about being out in the open and showing yourself off. And beating your opponent to a bloody pulp doesn't hurt either. You're here to fight.
Oh, it's true. I'm afraid that I am just terrible mush under here at the moment. And I need a few nights recovery. Not tonight, but about in the future. I'm just here to soak it all in.
Oh, there's plenty to soak all in, especially if you're into the blood. And he's like making gestures to himself. Come on here, like, you can sit right next to me. You sound like a theatrical sort. Maybe you can call some of the fights too if you get real interested. That's a thought, huh? And then go ahead.
Is it possible for me to, at this point that we're chummy now, ask a question, kind of see if I can pull a little information out of him?
Absolutely. See what you can get.
I would like to do an information move with presence and just say to him, now look here. I haven't had a chance to see the Slugger in action yet. What's it like? Hoping that he might slip details that would otherwise go unchecked by somebody who isn't seeing him fight all the time.
Mm-hmm.
That is a 3 + 2 is a 5.
Oh dear. Oh dear. No, I'm not going to deal with it just yet. Info move. Okay.
I do something along the lines of, well, they must call you Jester because you look so funny, and just like step in it.
Oh dear. Yes, I'm going to say that would definitely hurt some pride. He figures himself quite cutting the fine figure himself. Oops. Alrighty. So we'll come back to that. Sir Atticus. Okay.
Yes.
Well, you knock on the door, and I'm going to say that you succeed in avoiding the trap by sheer instinct. You remember very freshly like what happened to you earlier, and it's almost like you can feel under the soles of your boots. It's like, about starting to give way. Tell me how you avoid falling down the pit trap, the panel trap.
Could I instead say that I go along with the slide? If Hortencia wants me in there, like, I'm bloodthirsty. I'm ready for a fight if she wants to have a fight.
Okay.
So I slide down, but I'm not caught unaware as I land on my feet.
Okay. Yeah, that is fine. But I think you will slide and you will literally be right at knife point when you stop, when you get yourself at the bottom of the slide.
Okay.
You are persistent, just like your friend who came before, invading my house. What is the meaning of this?
Getting to the bottom of a series of murders. If you want a fight, La Hortencia, I'm more than willing to rise to the occasion. But that won't bring her back, will it?
She had a menacing look on her face to start, but as soon as you mention her face crumbles, and she will back away. You don't know.
But I do.
She was so beautiful. She was such a kind and loving little thing. I miss her so much. She will turn away suddenly, and then she will thunk the knife into one of the corner blocks of wood. What do you plan to do?
With you?
She'll look up at you honestly. I'm tired. Would you like to know the story?
Yes. And I will take a seat on the slide, assuming that there's no seating here.
I mean, you were down here before, killing floor and old
Then
stuff.
I'll look around, perhaps in different environs.
She shakes her head, and she'll actually turn back to you with a small, sad smile and say, "Mind that you walk where I walk. Otherwise, I can't speak of what's going to happen."
And I'll look at the gore that is spread around here. Yes.
Okay. Liat. Yes, this new and improved Dame Georgie is lounging quite close to you, as a matter of fact, if you'll let it do so. And you can hear the growling tones of the demon emanating from Dame Georgie's body. So, what did you want to talk about?
Well, my dear, I wanted to talk about you. And I'm going to ask him 2 questions. And per the rules, you may reply in the form of a clue.
Okay.
And let me just double check. Yeah, because I think I rolled a 9 last time, I think was what it was.
Yes, I believe that is the case, yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I'm going to ask it, I'm going to ask it, why do you want to remain in London? And what secret, and what do you desire most in this world?
Give me a second. I'm going to take a look at the clues. I figure it's fair to give you information for one and then a clue in the other. So,
Yeah.
You have lived a long time, haven't you?
I have, yes.
Have you stayed in the same place for very long?
Of course I haven't. That would be dreadfully boring, as I'm sure you understand. I mean, you were sealed up in that young fleshy tomb for how long was it? A century?
At least. But I will say that what people believe to be good can just as easily be very evil. And what folks would believe is evil could be done with the best of intentions. This girl that was found entombed in the Abbey. Perhaps I am her answer of revenge. Perhaps not.
What sort of revenge?
Instead of answering you directly, the demon is going to ask you a question. In your experience, why do they perform exorcisms?
To regain control, to cast out what they don't understand or what they deem improper. The truth really is, though, that these things that they attempt to exercise, well, they'll outlive them, and they're just constant reminders of their insignificance.
Perhaps there are also other things that they wish to cover up.
Oh, always.
I think the demon in this case will answer you in the form of, look there. And Dame Georgie's body will point at the grate of the fire that's in this salon. And it burns brightly and hotly and high. in the grate for maybe 10 seconds. And when it dissipates, when it goes down just as suddenly, you see that there's a folder of records that look like they're singed on the outside, but otherwise perfectly intact.
Yeah. Liat will snap her fingers and Abdurrahman will fetch the folders out of the fire.
And the clue is that they are archive records talking about a failed exorcism performed on an orphan girl who, as a result, allegedly died. Allegedly.
Oh, men.
Men. And this is with a tone of disgust, as well as a sigh of resignation. The demon's going to say, just think upon that as a why I remain.
I constantly think about why men do things, and I'm still at a loss for answers. However, and I do appreciate you for coming by. I know it's been quite some time since you've been out and about, and I don't want to keep you, but the body you're in, well, I can't have you staying in that forever. You understand. I have uses for it.
What? We can have so much fun together, didn't
Yes.
you? And as the demon says each of these next words, it's like it punctuates it by coming ever closer to you, like no heeding about any space or anything like that. Didn't you say you wanted me to come?
She takes Georgie's jaw into her fingertips and says, "Oh, you'll come. But, well, as I said, I need this particular hunter. He serves a purpose here. And, well, if things were to happen to him, well, that would be on me, and I can't have that. I do have something else for you, a different sort of meal, if you like."
And Dame Georgie's eyebrow will perk up and you'll hear the growl. Oh?
Yes. Follow me. And Liat will get up and Abdurrahman will follow. And as the three of us start to walk, she goes, something very interesting my man told me this afternoon was that we have a new guest in the house. You actually have the keys. And we'll stop in front of Dame Georgie's bedroom door. Would you mind opening that? Keys are in your pocket.
Yeah, so the demon will reach into Dame Georgie's pocket and open up the door. I mean, it's still messed up from earlier. I don't think Dame Georgie went in and then cleaned up anything, but I think you see the cage of rats, but I don't think if you're thinking about Lady Abigail, I don't think that he's returned her to this room yet. I don't know. I mean, would he have even found
That's up
out?
to Georgie. Did Georgie bring her back? Or because I thought he brought her back and
No, he did, but remember, okay, so just as a reminder from last time, what happened was Rag had discovered her and fended her off, but then they brought her to a different room in Hargrave House to lock her up because the door was unlocked when Rag came in.
I mean, I had mentioned that Abdurrahman was watching them the whole time.
Okay.
I would not take him to Georgie's room then. I would take
that room, to that particular room. Sure.
room.
Okay. So rewind. All right. Yeah. So I mean, if Abdurrahman planted that particular key on Dame Georgie, sure, that's fine. Yeah. So the demon opens up the door and sees. Actually, I think she's somewhat asleep. She's kind of taking some rest, taking this opportunity to rest. So I think she's just laying in the bed. And because she was sated earlier, I think there's that pale bloom to her cheeks. But again, she's a vampire person. It's like semi-vampire now. So she's got that look about her, and her hair is, you know, clean, like she cleaned herself up. And then you still see the blood, the dried blood on her dress. Like she hasn't really changed into anything. But yeah, she's like sleeping on the bed.
And when the door opens, she'll just put her hands on Dame Georgie's shoulder and say, "Just a moment." And Liat will go inside and just crouch down by the bed. "Excuse me."
And she rouses herself and rubs her eyes. Yes. Oh, hello.
"Oh, my dear, you look dreadful. This dress is unbecoming of a lady like you. Would you like another? Something cleaner, something a bit more in season?"
Oh, that would be lovely. I'm sorry. I don't know you, but I was.
You know Dame Georgie, don't you? And she'll point to Dame Georgie.
Oh, you look familiar. I remember your name, I think.
Well, nevertheless, come, let's get you cleaned up. I have much to discuss with you.
All right. Okay. And then she will like docilely, follow you out. And
Yeah, Liat will actually kind of slip her hand into hers, and very sisterly, and we'll go to. I imagine I took one of the bedrooms and just made it like a walk-in closet. So go there.
I'm sure you commandeered
like Mariah Carey,
several
just like
rooms.
a
No,
full
you commandeered
church
us.
and-
You commandeered a floor. Okay, you probably commandeered a floor at
yeah,
Hargrave.
at least half the floor. Yeah.
Don't be modest. All right, going back to the unseen. Chaotic. A pair of wealthy children, Hans and Gretel, are planning to murder their private tutor, Christopher Quint, and gobble up his brain matter, just as they did to their parents the night before. How do they plan to do so? Does the angel intercede on behalf of Christopher Quint, or is he here for the hungry lad and lady?
It's fascinating to this angel to see the depravity of where some people may go, even in children, that they are ignored by this sort of plight of corruption, as it were. But there has to be a line somewhere. They plan on straight up attacking him outright, just leading him down through the halls by that old grandfather clock and bringing it down on top of him until his head hits the floor and cracks open, and the brains are there for them to consume. But there needs to be a line somewhere. And so the angel intercedes as the grandfather clock is coming down. He puts his hand up and catches it, and he holds his hand outstretched to the children. Come with me to the land that you will never be unhappy ever again, and you will be filled with joy till the end of time. You won't ever have to grow up.
Ernest, you say what you say to Jester, and he gets this first a flash of anger on his face, but then a more calculating look. Ah, well, you're bound to look a little funny when you happen to do the thing you enjoy so much. You fight and you suffer for your art. I not only announce these fights, but I also participate on a regular basis to show that I am not only one of them, but I deserve to come out on top. You, behind that mask, I'm sure, have earned your bruises and have therefore suffered for your art, I'm sure. Come, sit next to me right here. And he pats a seat next to where he's announcing from a small little podium deck. And yeah, it's like kind of like on the edge of, I'm not going to say arena. I mean, like, you know, I mean, like it's like the fighting area that they've just separated off with like a flimsy gate of some sort or what have you. He intones, "Ladies and gentlemen." Oh, I'm so sorry, as everybody like guffaws and laughs. "There are no ladies here. This is all for us, gents." And he will announce the current fighters. Like, one is a very hirsute fellow. I think this is the bear that the bartender was talking about. And then the other one is kind of small and slight, but looks like moves very quickly. Like, you know, as he's taking some practice jabs and such before the fight is on, he looks like he's moving almost unseen. First his punch is close to his face, but then, like, you know, shoots out very quickly. He says, "Tonight, we bout in this club that we have to prove who is the most manly. We use this energy, we fuel ourselves from all the things that we've put ourselves through day after day after day." He will ring a bell, but there's something about what he says next that seems to give the fighters in the ring a little bit of pause. "And as you do this, just realize we are all there for you. All of us, old members and new." Emphasis on the new. And I think they both take surreptitious looks at you, Ernest, or at least they take surreptitious looks your way. And they square off again. And at the full ringing of the bell, like somebody like clangs on a bell or something like that in another corner, they look like they're about ready to go after each other, but then they both turn, look at you, and pull you into the ring. And they both like are in your face and say, "Let's do a three-way." And
Well, gentlemen, this is not how I usually get into this situation. No laughter? Gonna
No
just beat the shit out of me? Okay, cool.
yeah, they're gonna, right. And that is for your 5. Yes.
Yeah. In the spirit of camaraderie, as I urged Dame Georgie to do, I'm gonna roll with the miss on this one.
Oh my God. Oh, I think they pull you in, and I think the bigger guy, the bear, has swung you around to tear off your coat, you know, whatever you have, like a waistcoat or a coat or whatever. So torn that off. And then the smaller fellow will actually grab at your mask and then tear that off. Do they see anything? Did you put anything underneath that? Okay. Got you. All right. This is interesting. This was Trophy. I'd be like, they need ruin rolls like right off the bat, but yeah.
Totally.
Yeah. But
I think that Ernest is going to continue to tear at his clothing.
Okay. Yeah, go ahead. I mean, like, you know, again, now I'm starting to think trophy rolls again. This is bad. Night move. I mean, like, you know, they could still be trying to beat you up, but yet you're also trying to get away. This is very risky. trying
basically trying to strip off all of my clothes faster than they can grab whatever pant leg or the things that they can still see before I'm completely invisible, right?
Absolutely. Exactly. So you're trying to beat them to it. Absolutely. Sure.
Getting in a scrap.
What are you afraid will happen if you don't?
That the big Ursine man will just have me by the one pant leg. Yeah. And I will be completely naked as they pummel me until they can start to see the blood.
Yes. I have nothing else worse than that, really, because I mean, again, it's okay. Go for it. Okay. Sorry, vitality.
Oh shit, that's not great.
Oh wait, okay, hold on. Like, well, parlay me. I'm perfectly.
Hang on.
not
I want to
sensitivity.
say composure
Okay. Okay.
because I'm trying to keep my shit together while I'm trying to yeah, okay, cool.
Yeah.
Any little bit I can do today with these fucking dice.
Sure.
I swore at them. They heard me. That's a 5.
Wow.
It is though. 3 and a 1.
If we were using the trophy roller, I'd say like, let's stop, or clear your cache, but no, that's real dice. Shit. Okay. I'm gonna have to come back to that. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Okay. Holy shit. 2 5s in a row. Oh my God. Sir Atticus, I think you follow La Hortencia upstairs. And again, she's asking you to follow in her footsteps, literally, so this way you don't get caught in any other weird traps. However, I still owe you for the 7 from earlier. And what happens when she gets to the top of the steps? Even in the dim light of, I don't know, some very dim lamps from outside, I think you are able to see a little bit. And you see a shadow cast on the wall in front of La Hortencia as you see a dark shadow tackle her out of the way in front of you. And yeah, you don't see La Hortencia anymore in front of you. A shadow has crossed that threshold and tackled her away from the door.
Race up.
You are in the shop part, I think, now, as you make your way to the landing, and you see a dark shadow looking like they are raising something to beat La Hortencia senseless on the ground.
Okay.
Still silent, and they're in a patch of darkness that you can't see what or who it is.
I would like to disarm them, hopefully wrapping I have a bullwhip. I want to just wrap it around the arm and yank them off.
Interesting. Okay. Go ahead and roll night move, please.
All right.
Vitality. Hold on. It's like your condition.
What am I afraid is going to happen?
Yeah, bloodthirsty might. Yeah, I think that's gonna get in your way.
Bloodthirsty is going to get in my way.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
I'll roll with disadvantage, but I will mark the bullwhip to counteract the disadvantage.
So straight. Go ahead.
What are you afraid it might happen?
I am afraid that this thing is not alone. That even if I manage to secure La Hortencia from this thing, that there are others. We're being ambushed.
I'm going to say that in the way it's worse is that I don't know whether you're going to be able to, if you fail, I don't think you're going to be able to talk to La Hortencia at all, because this thing or person will kill her.
Okay. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna mark the corded bullwhip with the silver coin to counteract the disadvantage. And roll. Come on. That is a 7. That's the
So
second time I rolled a 3 and a 1. I am not rolling those dice anymore.
I mean, Jesus Christ, what is going on? Can't wait to see the next roll that Georgie does then. Because in which case I'm going to say this is cursed. But anyway, so I'm going to say that, your bullwhip will wrap around the arm of this person who's holding something, up in the air, ready to beat the shit out of, La Hortencia. Are you trying to pull them off, or are you just trying
Yes.
to disarm them with a snap? So
No,
this way...
I'm trying to pull them off, like strength against strength.
Okay.
And
Got it.
if I get ambushed because I'm focusing on one target, then sure.
I'm going to say that as soon as you pull, and you pull hard, this person comes away, and then you get into a shaft of light, and you see that this is a person holding what looks like a fighting stick. And this fighting stick looks very familiar to you as you draw this person into the light, into the angry features of, what are you doing? This is a worshiper of Mok. I was going to take her out. What are you doing?
Atticus will let the whip drop. Hearing what are you?
Remember me?
Yes, I
Atticus?
remember. Yes. I thought your prey was different. Worshipper of Mog, this.
What are you talking about? You disappear for several days. You don't get in touch with me. And now I'm finding you, what? Walking into a den? Walking into this trapped-filled place? What is wrong with you? And as she's talking with you, then she's like, releasing herself from the bullwhip, and then she's whipping out like some twine or some kind of strong rope, and then like hog tying like La Hortencia where she is. And then she'll stand up and she will like put her hands on her hips and go, what were you doing walking into a trap?
She was guiding me. She was going to explain what happened to her. Maybe I could get more information about her son. You remember the other fig that's going around? We are not executioners. She was going to come peacefully, and then she would be returned alongside her husband. And then at that point, the situation would be resolved. Worshipper of Mog or not, we are not murderers, not without reason.
I think I didn't understand what you were speaking of when you were talking about your hunt. If that's the case, I've been on their trail as well, after hearing about their little ingredient in their pies. You are actually going to sit and talk to her.
Had she struck out at me, I would have struck her down.
She fed her arm to her sons.
How much of the story do we know? Like, do we know about the cave-in and stuff from our theorize, or?
Well, because Rag told you.
Yeah.
About the accident, about the cave-in, and he tried to tell you about what happened with the arm, but I don't think he could bring himself to disclose it fully.
Okay. So back in the scene. In a moment of desperation to keep her family alive, not out of some sort of degraded ritual, but to keep the people that she loved whole.
Well, then her husband has taken it to a full pagan sacrifice. He's taken it to a point where they or him, whomever, it doesn't matter. They were all in on it. They all baked the pies.
Yes. And yet, this woman had me at knife point. And when I spoke with her and reminded her of her daughter that she lost, there was a glimmer of humanity and dignity again. Well, killing her is easy. Letting her live and make up for what she has done.
How? How many lives have been lost in their pies? Do you know?
No. But she is no beast.
What do you intend on doing then?
Returning her to Scotland Yard. Hopefully in a separate cell from Mr. Pig. If he is a Mog cultist, as you say, the greater distance we can keep between them, the better. She does not strike me as some sort of worshipper of a god, not willingly. And then after that, determining the nature of her other son. Obert was a monster that has been dealt with by Hargrave House. Patrick may also be one of these broken.
I will let you take care of this. You're not exactly who I thought you were. regardless of the prey, I thought that you, well, upon principle, which I think has been quite broken at this point. Cannibals, worshippers of Moch, you are aiding and abetting one of this very twisted family. I hope you know what you're doing.
Atticus will just wrap up the bullwhip.
She'll grab her fighting stick and put it in its halter. If you would like to continue our talks, then I suggest sending me, well, an invitation to tea at some point. I was, I will say, a little worried when I hadn't seen you. Don't make me regret saying that, Sir Atticus.
There's just a glimmer in his eye. How domestic. I have some tea leaves from a friend. She's not around very much anymore, but I think she'd be happy if I shared some of her tea.
I would like that. I'll leave you to it then. Whatever discussion that you want to have. Again, I hope you know what you're doing. And she'll come up to you and she will give you that friendly, flirty pat on the cheek. That's half a slap as well. And then she will take her leave of you into the shadows. And La Hortencia has been keeping quite still hogtied through this whole ordeal.
Atticus will untie her and let her adjust herself.
Okay. And then we will head over to Hargrave House. Okay. So back at Hargrave House, Liat, what are you doing with Lady Abigail?
Well, she's bringing Lady Abigail to her to one of her closets. This one is the gown room, the gown closet, and once inside, it's been outfitted with the most modern lanterns. There are just racks and mannequins filled with bespoke garments, all made tailored to her. But a little bit of zhuzhing and a little bit of tailoring here and there. I'm sure Abigail can fit some of them. But yeah, she lets Abdurrahman open the door for them, and she walks hand in hand with Abigail. I'm sorry, I didn't catch your name.
Yes, I am Lady Abigail Douglas Waits, and she's looking like kind of furtively underneath her eyelashes at Dame Georgie this whole time, just trying to place where she knows him and the recognition of the name.
It's strange. I thought that you being here and is Dame Georgie having brought you here, I thought that the two of you had more of a relationship, more familiarity. I suppose I misunderstood the nature of your relationship. In any event, come. I think this lavender color would look striking on you. And she'll pull this like lavender taffeta gown, just hold it up to her.
And I think you'll hear from Dame Georgie's body, but in the demon's growl. Beautiful.
Yes, she is, isn't she?
Yes.
Now, Abigail, dear. I may call you Abigail, yes?
I'm sorry, I'm not, I don't know your name.
Oh, my name is Liat Kanaan.
Thank you, Miss Kanaan. She does a little bit of a dip curtsy.
You don't need to curtsy to me.
Thank you. This is wonderful. It feels so soft and it's so beautiful. Thank you.
May I just take this off of you? It's far too dirty for you.
Oh, I should go into another room?
No.
Or
And of course, if you want to be modest, I won't hold you back.
Yes, please.
Of course, then. And she'll point the way to the dressing screen.
And she's got, again, just give you this puzzled look like, what the heck? But she will, watch you continually as she changes, steps out into the gown, and it looks phenomenal on her.
Ravishing, just ravishing. Come to the mirror. And she'll sort of escort her over to the tall standing mirror.
Mhm.
What do you think? And I don't know if this is the case in this world, but as a vampire, would she have a reflection?
I think this is questionable because they're still able to be in the light in somewhat.
I will note that earlier you did say that Dame Georgie had a reflection.
Yeah.
Okay, so then she'll stand behind her, put her hands on her shoulders, and say, "You're still very cold."
Yes. I don't. Well, I don't know. Remember how I came to be like this, and it's almost like now that you've reminded her she's cold, then she is starting to feel shivery again, and she will put her arms around herself and just again start to feel.
She'll gesture, and she'll just there's no it's a very non-specific gesture, but it's almost as if Abdurrahman is psychic in this connection with her. He'll pull off a pearl necklace off a neck form and hand it off to Liat, and she'll drape it not around, but hold it close to her throat. Do you like these pearls?
They look wonderful. And she will kind of do that gentle touch of feeling the pearls, because I'm imagining that they're all real. Yeah. They feel so smooth.
They're very old and very beautiful.
Yes. She's almost hypnotized by her reflection and then seeing herself in this gown. And yes, answering a question in the chat. Yes, I think Dame Georgie can see out of his own eyes.
Ooh.
As the demon is driving it away. So, what do you think of this, Dame Georgie?
Yeah,
I mean, of her.
Oh, I think he's angry with Liat because she's trying to placate Abigail with beautiful clothes, beautiful jewelry, get her into a vulnerable, trusting state so that this demon could ride her. He is not sure what he's more angry with, the demon or Liat's, because he took upon the burden of carrying this demon to Hargrave House, lest it attack any sort of innocence upon London. He knows that he can be cruel, he can be violent for his own selfish gains, for the sake of the empire, for many reasons. But I think this is the first time in a while I think he wants to commit violence for the sake of another human being. Well, human-ish.
Someone that he cares for.
Yes. Somewhat noble of a goal, for once.
I'm going to say I'm going to allow you to make a night move to see if you can break the demon's hold. And you have to tell me how. What do you do to try to break out of this consciousness prison?
Or do you even want to do it?
Yeah. It's up to you.
Just
I mean,
hang
the
out
demon's
and watch.
enjoying the show. For sure.
I think in his mindscape, it's basically he's in this sort of jail cell. It's dark void, and he's looking through effectively a peephole at this show.
Yeah.
And I think he's trying to grasp on any sort of control because he wants to kill this demon. He wants to destroy it, to make it suffer. What can he control from here? What does the demon not think about? The demon doesn't think about blood. Demon doesn't think about how this current host isn't human anymore. And well, even though the body's cold, probably doesn't need to breathe anymore. It still circulates, it still moves, it still animates the body. What if the blood were to stop all of a sudden?
And what do you think will happen if you fail or lose your nerve?
The demon will get a little bit skittish and will end up possessing her anyways.
Yes.
Do I get disadvantage again because of dark desires?
Oh, yes. This is one of the many flavors of dark desire you have.
That's a 2.
Okay. I don't know what cursed moon is on.
No, I really tried to warn you guys. I like off chat, like I told you this would happen.
I'm gonna say it. Like, I'm gonna say it because it happened in the other campaign the other night. It's like rolling like ass. What the hell?
Like all of us.
Yes.
I'm gonna mark one of my masks, and I think this is appropriate time for the cosmic passage, because
Ooh.
it seems as though my life is cursed by supernatural stuff and I am being unreasonable. So
Yeah, that sounds about right. Oh my God.
okay. So my reason now is -1.
I think you were on the edge anyway, but damn. Okay. Yeah, mask. So that's 7 to 9. Tell me what this looks like first before I move on back to poor Ernest.
I think he is screaming, crying out, clawing at the cages, but then he sees like these little tendrils, the slow, dull beat, and he grabs at that and just pulls, and sort of like roots from a ground, they pull off like this imaginary space. And in the real world, Liat's Kanaan, I think, just sees Dame Georgie collapse the ground like a ragdoll. The demon's still inside me, so that's a problem.
It's gonna be great. It's gonna be great. Okay, back to the unseen. All right, Mike, take us home. A girl of only 16 gives birth to a young but healthy son. When the wet nurse allows them time alone with one another, the angel arrives and demands that a life is owed to him. What bargain has the girl struck with the angel? Does she give up her newborn son, or does she volunteer to follow the angel herself, leaving the child to be discovered, swaddled, and squealing?
I think the bargain was to take care of the father, who is a cruel, harsh man. I think the angel dealt with him permanently, and now a life for a life, effectively. We see her looking at her newborn son, looking around the home. It's a bit ramshackle, cold. There isn't much here. And then she looks at the angel, beautiful, remembers the stories that she's heard of this faraway land, and with tears in her eyes offers up the child, partly to satisfy a bargain, and partially to give hope for a place better than here. And we pull away as the angel vanishes with the child, and she's just left crying in the dark. The wet nurse coming back and looking confused and running out shouting.
Ernest, while the Grand Guignol is very bloody, I don't know if you can tell me whether it has like opportunities for comedy or like dark comedy. I mean, I think maybe perhaps this might remind you a little bit of some dark comedy, as you are hung up by one ankle, and as the audience, the other fellows and men here are alternately cheering you on, like, get up, fight, do something, and then or like kind of catcalling you and saying, oh, I can't do anything from way up there. And then, just going at it. Yeah, the bear guy is holding you up by an ankle and like letting the smaller guy kind of use you as a practice punching bag to the hoots and hollers of the audience. They will tease each other and kind of slap each other on the back and take turns doing a punch here and a punch there. I think you'll see, even upside down, I think you'll see that there's a frenzy in their eyes. There's this bloodshot look of seeing you but not seeing you, which is what you're used to anyway, being invisible, but yet even with your mask off, that didn't deter them from trying. And they're using feeling right now to do this, or put on a mask.
I'm only down for the one failure this evening. I would like to put on a mask.
Okay.
And I would ask if I could somehow, the combination of checking a mask and perhaps the flash powder
Okay.
from the REC in my
Sure.
personal quarters
Yes.
might give me enough cover to scramble my naked invisible body, grasp at my clothes, and somehow make my way out and escape.
Okay. All right, go for it. Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna say that is the case. I think you do leave one thing behind, and that's gonna be the no mask.
Oh shoot, I had a thing with that. Okay, yes. No more big cats for Ernest.
Sorry. It had to be something substantial, and I think they had kind of thrown that off to the side once they tore it off of you. So which mask are you using for this?
I'm going to check a second Mask of the Past, and then I can narrate them together.
Perfect.
I have to describe a time that I committed a crime, I think.
Excellent. Okay. All right. Tell me how this looks. Like you managed to extricate yourself. And do you stay to see how it goes? Do you just leave and slink back to Hargrave House? What are you doing?
Oh, this was horrifying to Ernest on every number of levels, and he is going to cling to alley walls and cobblestoned, corridors, trying to hide his own clothes behind himself so people can't see he's completely defeated. And tail between his invisible butt cheeks, he's going to run on home. I think we see him later in the evening, and we do actually see him because there's a bit of dust and dirt from getting kicked around, and you can see it clinging to the outline of some of his naked body as he just lays back in bed, and there's just a little bit of blood splatter across the lower part of his face. You can actually see his breathing as he's trying to center himself out of a full-blown anxiety attack.
I'm so sorry, Ernest. Oh, God. Ugh. All right. Sir Atticus, back at the shop. I think after you release La Hortencia, she shows you to a darkened corner of the shop where you just see a small shaft of light. I mean, they've papered up the windows, so it's not like anybody's able to see anyway, but in the dim light, she sighs and she thanks you for saving her from a beating, basically. And she will say, the story is not very long. We lost her. We lost my little Emma. She was such a bright little thing. She was younger than Obert and Patrick. And she was the light of our bakery. But something. And she got sick, and we couldn't do anything about it. And this was back in the other town that we were living in before here. And we had to move because I couldn't face being where we were so happy. And we came to a mining town because, well, my husband needed to get work, and he worked in the mine, but we would go and we would spend some time with him as well. But we got caught. We got caught by some cave-in. And they were trying to get us out, but it was so long before they could. And I needed to keep my boys alive. I already lost little Emma. I couldn't lose another child again. And I did it. It was me. I had to feed them something. And she will hover her arm over the non-existent one. And so they had a taste for it. They developed a taste for it. When they finally got us out, I told my husband what I had done, and he hugged me. He congratulated me and said I was an amazing mother for doing that for my boys. And he said this was in the glory of Mock, which he hadn't said anything to me before, but took to it, and he taught the boys, and we had, well, I went along with it because my boys were safe. My boys were growing, and my husband was happy.
Atticus just takes a seat and processes it. Do you want to see him again? Your husband?
He loves me. He's proud of me. Don't know if I'm proud of him. Don't. Have you been upstairs?
Yes. It is a lovely home that you've made, despite all of it.
And her face just collapses as tears fall. I think the worst part about all of this. We could have stayed in the woods, harmed no one. I could have used my trapping skills to keep us fed, keep us safe. But we ended up here to find more prey to serve my husband's lord and master. No, I don't want to see him again. But, and she looks you in the eye, I understand if you need to imprison me, or worse. As you can see, I've lost.
Atticus will hug her and say, "You will not die this day. You have a long road of penance. But here in this confession, priest though I am not, you show beautiful dignity."
So sorry. As she sobs into your sleeve, that's all she says. I tried so hard. I'm so sorry.
And I think while this is happening, Jack, because I'm imagining, Mads, that I would mark the hunt.
Yes, you would definitely mark it O.
While this touching moment is happening, Jack, what does Atticus sense that snaps him out of his reverie and reminds him that the beast draws ever closer?
I don't think necessarily it's immediate, but maybe it's like as you're escorting her somewhere, like, and you get a whiff of something down an alley, and it's scent of fresh murder, and you are hit with the sudden pestering of a series of flies who seem to be going en route to find the source.
Okay. Atticus will make a note of that And as they're walking quietly down the London road, Atticus will just say, you know, you have done some good, despite all of it. I'm told that you did feed those who needed it. I'm told that your family did show love in their own way, not only to each other, but to your neighbors. Rag, are you aware of the boy? A bit scrawny, pickpocket.
She frowns and looks at you. Rag, are we talking about the little street urchin?
He was the one who advocated for you. Otherwise, you would have been treated as prey, as beasts to be put down.
When was this?
A few days ago.
There must be someone else. There must be someone else that you're speaking of.
What?
The Rag that I knew. He was killed in a carriage accident 2 years ago. And then she turns away and will follow you out. Liat and Dame Georgie, tell me how this finishes out. How we end this very strange night in Hargrave House. Dame Georgie has collapsed. The demon is still hanging out. And Lady Abigail has turned, seeing in the mirror that Dame Georgie has collapsed. Oh my goodness. Is he all right?
I'm sure he's fine, just seeking attention. Abdurrahman. And she'll snap, and Abdurrahman will sort of just try to hoist Dame Georgie up to his feet. See? He's fine. Now, as I was saying to you, my dear, I bring these pearls to you not just as a gift, but I see a certain blemish on your neck. Unsightly, really. Do you know what that's from?
No, I don't. I remember being in an alley, and I was accosted by someone with a knife.
Those
don't
aren't
remember
knife
anything.
wounds, my dear. Those are bite marks.
What?
Those rats in your room, the things that you feasted on to keep yourself in present in the space. That's not normal human behavior, my dear. That is actually the behavior of a beast, an animal. But you're not an animal, are you, my lady?
No, I'm not.
Of course you're not. However, we do live in London, and you are a lady. Men will find you to be either a plaything or something to be discarded. When they find out what you really are, well, they'll fear you. You see, they don't want people like us in power. They don't want people like us to have power. And that is what we have, my dear. And well, I would hate for that to be squandered.
Are you like me too?
In a manner of speaking, I'm offering you not only guidance as someone who's lived, well, in a position very similar to yours for quite much longer than you have. And I want you to go out into the world, and I want you to be strong in it. Because there are those, even those who live in this house. And she gestures down towards, up towards Dame Georgie. I don't think she gestures. I think she just more like turns her head towards Georgie. But there are those even in this house who would see to it that you would not reach your full potential as a woman. I want you to. But I want you to be protected. And, well, I can offer you an accompaniment. Bodyguard, if you will. Someone who can help foster your power when I'm not there.
She looks to Abdurrahman.
No, he is quite capable in his own right. But no, I'm talking about Dame Georgie here. And she puts her hand on Dame Georgie's chest. Or rather, what's inside him.
I don't understand.
She sort of drapes her arms across Abigail's shoulders and her chest, and like this sort of embrace. Accept my gift. Become what you never thought capable of. Something strong and powerful, not this wilting lily.
You
All you have to
see,
do is say yes.
you see a few thoughts cross her face as she's remembering perhaps places and times where she has been thought less of and taken advantage of in the societal way. And then she gets a look of resolve. What am I agreeing to?
You're agreeing to freedom, my dear. Something that the men of this city and this world do not want for us.
I would be married off very soon. That is not freedom. And my family would not appreciate having to harbor a spinster that could not rise their own fortunes. I ask, what do you want me to do?
She leans in very closely into her ear and just says, open your heart. Think about what can be. Think about all the things that you'll be able to see as a free woman. You'll never grow old, you'll never age, and you will be able to best any man in this city.
Yes.
Very good. Close your eyes. And she'll look over to Abdurrahman, and he'll start to bring Dame Georgie's body closer. And she'll lean in to Dame Georgie's ear and say, you can come in now.
Well, you marked a mask, right, Dame Georgie?
Yes, I think.
And you collapsed on the floor to do it.
Yeah. I think as this is sort of like I'm being dragged over by this servant, I think like Dame Georgie starts to cry tears of blood. I think I'll give Jack this because I have ideas for the upcoming dawn phase. I think as like they start to fall upon the floor, the blood itself starts to move in strange and unusual ways. But you have your demon.
What does this look like, Jack, as the demon exits Dame Georgie but goes into Lady Abigail?
I think that Liat returns back to Abigail's side, puts the pearl necklace on her, and I think it has like a cameo on it of a woman's face. Those wriggling droplets of blood start to continue to pour out of Dame Georgie's cheeks, or out of his eyes onto his cheeks down to the floor. But as they hit the floor, they begin to wriggle and writhe, and they blacken into these sort of black serpents, similar to the ones that Liat saw at the hospital. And they begin to slither up Abigail's body, up her legs, up her torso, up her breasts, and up her neck, until finally they begin to all enter inside of her mouth. And she falls backwards, stumbling into like a dress form, choking on these things as they begin to enter her mouth, enter her nose even. And then finally, once they're gone, she takes a moment, her head down, she looks up at Georgie, and I'll let you say what she says, or what they say.
Those at the Abbey are going to be quite surprised. This is a wonderful gift. I was hoping, and again, approaches you step by step, word by word. I was hoping to be much more playful tonight, but this is an adequate substitute. I will go back for now, have some fun with the monks under the guise of lovely Lady Abigail contributing to the Abbey's coffers in many ways. Goodbye, Liat. night.
Have yourself a pleasant evening, Lady Abigail.
You will. Right now, she's in your space. And I think before you know it, and I'd be interested to see what you do about it, I think she will clutch you in an embrace and give you a full-on kiss on the lips.
Yeah, I'm down with that. I think it's maybe less of a like carnal embrace and more of just because I think I think Liat would be into it too. I think it's more of a just like a very sort of sensual kiss on the mouth to both of them in front of Georgie, who I don't know, is he coming to consciousness or is he still catatonic?
Yeah, I think he's trying to get his blood back in order, trying to gain control. I think he's still being like helped up by your servants, and like he's trying to like scramble like his legs against the floor, trying to stand upright, but he can't quite manage it.
Oh, look who's waking up.
But I think you still managed to see it. I still think that as you came to consciousness, I think you managed to see most of it, Dame Georgie.
Yeah, as the two of us finish making out, she'll step away and say, well, I must get some rest. And you have quite the night ahead of you, I'm sure.
Lopsided grin appears on Lady Abigail's face. Yes, I do. And she leaves. We close out of night phase.
And I have one scene before we close out night phase.
Yep.
I think after La Hortencia is dropped off with the proper authorities, Atticus goes and stalks back. And he sees an animal that is not quite right in the alleyway. The flesh is still moving, warping. We see just a glower on Atticus's face as he follows a trail that leads away from it. And we see a family gathered around a table, eating a meal. They don't have much. The home is ramshackle, but there was a horse that died, and they were able to recover some of the meat. They cook and they laugh, and it's not much, but it's theirs. And then there's a knock, and the father goes up and opens the door, and then we cut to a dim home, blood spattered. The meal that was laid out still moving, similar to the flesh in the alleyway. And we see Atticus just stoking a flame in the dark. And he lingers for a moment and spreads the cheap alcohol that they had on the floor. And as he leaves, he makes sure that the small home and the little family that was there burns. He doesn't know what would happen if someone ate the beast. But for the sake of London, he's not willing to take a chance. And that is the darkened threshold.
Thank you. And we enter into the dawn. 2 down, 1 to go for Figs Pigs. No threat was resolved tonight, and we are going to go to dawn questions, starting with Dame Georgie. Did you answer a question? Yes. And resolve a threat? No. Did you experience an echo in the night?
I would say so, just by the nature of like being sort of carted down a hallway, not quite sure what's going on, and before having my life like crash down upon me. Thematically, an echo.
Well, I mean, I had what's his name collapse in the unseen, and then you also collapsed with your that's pretty echoey.
Absolutely. Okay. Did you deliver a chilling, dead-eyed monologue about the horrors of the world? I think you did. Oh my God. Did you use your loyalty to Her Majesty to justify your brutal actions? Nope. Didn't hear a thing about Victoria whatsoever. Had you fed your dark desires? Shit, yeah. So take those points, add them to your XP track if you haven't already, and then clear your dawn questions to Go for the next time. And then change your dawn questions if you want to. Miss Kanaan, Hunter's answers a question. Did not resolve a threat. Did you experience an echo in the night?
Yeah, the lavender dress with the lavender, either cake or duck was one of the two, but
yeah. Vivid. Did you secretly show a vulnerable side to someone?
Yeah, with Dame Georgie earlier.
Absolutely. Did you express a clear preference for the beautiful over the mundane?
My argument for yes is that when I was showing off my finery to Abigail, sort of like presenting her the custom dresses and the necklaces. And
I want to say, yeah, I mean, like, you can definitely take that point because of the contrast of that she had and your stuff. So sure, take that point. Yep, take that point. Excuse me. Add it to your XP track, clear your dawn questions, and then change your elective ones if you so choose. Sir Atticus, answered a question. Did not resolve a threat. Did you experience an echo in the night?
I don't think I did. No. I mean, the people sitting around a table eating happily is vaguely reminiscent of the intro to All the Lost Children, but I don't think it was a strong enough connection.
Did you taste someone or something else's blood, sweat, or other bodily fluids?
Oddly, not this time. Really weird.
Okay. Did you tell someone why their plans were poorly made?
Yes, in fact, there was this really nice lady that was trying to kill a repentant killer, and I told her that that's the easy way out because La Hortencia was going to give us more information.
Gotcha. Okay. Take those points, add them to your XP track, clear your dawn questions, and then change your elective ones as needed. Oops. Oh no. Okay. Hopefully we get them back. All right. Ernest, did you answer a question? Yes. Did the hunters resolve a threat? No. Did you experience an echo in the night?
I was going to hit it with the masks I owe.
Yeah, I mean, like, oh, it's fine. I'm loose. I'm loosey goosey like that. Did you appear in a scene which you felt content to blend into the background?
I mean, flee invisibly is not really content, so I don't think so.
Okay. Did you dress or act in a theatrical manner in order to draw attention to yourself? I mean, I feel like even though it's casual for Ernest, I feel like that
my attitude with Brick was definitely attention-seeking theatrical.
Sure,
in the beginning. I'm going to take the 1 point.
Okay. All right. Yeah, definitely, for sure. And then did you take your point for answering a question at the very least?
Oh, I will.
Yeah.
2 of those. Yep.
So again, add it to your XP track and then change your dawn questions as needed. Okay. All righty. That's dawn questions. Any playbook or custom moves that are resolved during this. I think bloodthirsty like calms down for this, or you still have it. I can't remember.
I would like to say that I resisted my impulses, and hearing out Hortencia put some ice cold water there. And I think dealing with the beast's influence in Shoreditch was also a bit of a sobering moment for him. So I would advocate that I am not bloodthirsty going into day phase.
That's fine. And any Janus mask prompts. So Ernest, yes, you have 2 masks of the past that you were going to blend in together. If you could read off the prompts for each one. Yeah, that would be great.
I'd be happy to. So I have to narrate a scene, a flashback to a time that I callously took advantage of my celebrity, and a flashback to a time where I committed a criminal offense when I could still see my face. Ernest was quite well known for the never-ending debauchery of a closing night. And so at the end of the Baker's Son, and we're at the end of the run, there's just all of us, opium and whiskey, and kind of almost remember crawling into my own bed, but wake the next morning next to an unfamiliar young woman who has rumpled hair and a dirty face, and she is cold and completely lifeless. In an icy sweat, I lay back down, and staring up the ceiling, lying next to this dead young woman. Ernest's breathing starts to rise and fall quite quickly as he panics and tries to figure out what to do next, and decides to call one of, oh, there's a patron at Scotland Yard, they'll be able to help me out of this. And I call the police, and I know he's a fan, it's going to be fine. And Ernest draws on a kimono and meets the police officer and says, I don't know, it was here, it must be a frame up, I can't imagine. I mean, you know me, I could never be capable of something like this. I am only savage in name. And as he and this now cop turned accomplice start moving her body down the hallway in the early hours of the morning, Ernest is already describing how they can just dump her in an alleyway, slash her a little bit, and everyone will think it's the Ripper, and no one will be the wiser, especially you.
And that endeth dawn phase. I mean, yeah, dawn phase. Holy crap. Yeah, I think that resolves everybody's masks up to this point. And what a crazy night ass phase that was. Holy shit. Yeah, we only have a few more minutes left. I want to be fair to everybody, and I know that not everybody can stay later, and I don't want to do that to you guys. You want to break, or you want to you want to just go ahead and just do the stars and wishes, and then try to line up stuff for next time? Because yeah, there was a lot of stuff in this particular episode. Holy shit. So
I'm fine with stars and wishes. I do not need the break, I don't think. Anybody else?
No, I'm good for stars and wishes.
so
Right.
we'll end a little bit early. We'll just just check in for what needs to happen for next time. We'll be starting off a new day phase, no new threats, because we still have the threats on the table. In fact, if you want, we can review what we've got so far before stars and wishes. So let's take a little look-see here. Just to take a look. Okay, so for Figs Pigs, we have 7 clues. Wait, no, sorry. No extra clues on the final question, which is 2 complexity at the very least. So gotta gather. And then Demon of Kilburn Abbey, 6 clues available, and you can either do the 6 or you can do the 8. 8, you're rolling with a negative. Shoreditch Slugger, again, you have 2 clues and a question that's complexity 2, and then the resolution of the threat needs to be answered with the complexity 6 question. So that's the stuff on the table still for next time.
To clarify, Jack, I think you said that you wanted to try and aim for the 8 on the demon, correct?
I'm open, considering everything that happened today. I'm open.
I've become more open to either question.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Everyone slowly eking towards the let's kill this demon. It's kind of scummy. All right.
We'll see what happens after vulnerable scenes next time. We'll see where we stand.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Oh my god. God. Go ahead.
I do have a question. I no longer have a demon inside me, but I do think I deserve a condition for that night phase.
Oh, and do I scar my reflection for that too?
Oh hell yeah. Hell freaking yeah. Oh my god. Just tell us how your reflection is scarred. Oh my god.
I think that there's a young woman who works at the museum during the day, but she tends to the statue at night, along with the other acolytes. And there's a moment where she's maybe dusting, or maybe there's maybe one of those giant skulls at the bottom. Maybe she's dusting it, and she can't see it, but she hears people behind her cry out, "Look out!" And part of one of the wings of the owls that are holding the hair aloft comes crashing down on her.
Oh my god. Okay.
Mads, if you're open to it, can I take the condition bound by failure?
Sure. Actually, I want you to change the
Mhm.
demon hitch thing and
Yeah.
then change it to that, please. Oh boy. Oh, what's this?
Are we good for stars and wishes, or?
Yes, and then after stars and wishes, then I have a stinger that I want to enact. Oh boy. Okay. Sorry. I just wanted to make sure that I had that lined up to go. All right. Stars and wishes. Yeah. Holy crap, a doodle do. Stars, things you liked about the game, gameplay, each other, role play. Wow. Holy crap. And then wishes, what you want to see for next time or the future. God knows. Whatever that looks like. Who wants to start?
As always, I have to give an anti-star for the rolls tonight. They were terrible.
Oh, fuck yeah. Oh my God.
Mhm.
And what's horrible is that they're all similar.
Mm.
Like people that were rolling fives were rolling fucking fives. And then people that were rolling sevens were rolling fucking sevens. And then people like in the kicking snake eyes, man. Jesus.
I want you to know the only reason I was getting sevens was because you were having me roll on my +3.
Okay, sorry. Go ahead. Keep going.
I gotta give the star for Sir Atticus for being the best of us. It just the moral heart of Hargrave House. I gotta give a star for Liat for just really showing how much she's a bad guy and I should not listen to her advice or try to emulate her in any way. Oh, she was just awful. And just Ernest for just trying to get stuff down, but it's just like, oh no, you're invisible. That's a problem.
I was just gonna say, Liat, did you all a favor tonight? Because now it's one bird, one stone instead of two birds, two stones. I don't know. So you're welcome. But no, yes, this was fun. I'm glad everyone rolled into, or I'm not glad everyone rolled like ass, but I am glad that everyone leaned into their failures. We don't often get to see that side of the game, and getting to see it was fun. Yeah, it was a heavy. It was like there was a lot of tones going on tonight, which all sort of, I think, ended in the same sort of way of this like dissatisfaction. You had Ernest coming home after having entering this bout club with a certain confidence that may or may not have been warranted. And I think he was sort of maybe humbled by what happened to him, and going home after that, I think that that he's thinking things in a different capacity, and maybe his role in those whole thing in a different capacity. And obviously Dame Georgie, a Stardew chaotic for being down for the shenanigans. And I really liked your narrations inside the brain, inside yourself. This helplessness and this conflict that you were dealing with was really well handled on your end, I thought. And then Mike, damn, yeah. I mean, just lots of heartbreak in those scenes with La Hortencia, and an additional star for Mads for the I love this, I love the anti-hero superhero trope of Batman and Catwoman sort of like having their moment. There's a little spat and then going their separate ways. It was very that, which I enjoyed. But then even Atticus ending on that note that he did kind of fits thematically with everyone else's kind of terrible night, except for Liat. She had a great time. But yeah, my wish is to experience what the fallout is from last night or from tonight. Not just for Liat, but for everybody, because I think there was a lot of kind of paradigm shifts that were happening that I think are going to lend themselves to some really interesting new dynamics in the future. And yeah, I think that's about it, really. I'm thinking about Liat's stance on what she did and how it relates to the questions that we have to answer. And there's a couple of different ways I think it could go, but I'm curious to see where the cards fall.
If I may. It was a very good session. As Jack said, a lot of wavering tones. Jack, you're really good at the villain upsell thing. You're you thrive in just being this person from like you say it's a problem, I say it's a party, in reference to like well, the hunters got possessed by a demon, it's okay, we roll with it, we ball. And it was a very good scene of just evil seduction. I'm like, men, am I right? Men are the worst. Why not get like a new set of superpowers to go along with your newborn vampirism? Liat's very good at taking in people who are not quite top of their game at evil and saying, I can train you, I can help you be better at this. So that was very good. Georgie, very, very gutsy to say, I rolled the worst possible thing for the demon to take over, let's go. And then breaking out of it, which was and like you said, I have a backup plan. I was very skeptical, and then you pulled it off. I was like, all right, good to go. So I thought that was really cool. Wish, I want to see Georgie like own up to this whole mess with that poor lady, if at all.
Yeah, I'm planning on a wish. I'm planning on a vulnerable scene between Dame Georgie and Sir Atticus.
Perfect.
Because something we need to discuss Liat.
Wait, hold on. You're gonna pivot to say, like, listen, I brought a vampire, but I'm not the one that got them demon possessed. We need to work together against the real foe here.
Yeah, I think
just hate to see a girl boss winning, that's all.
Yeah, I think it's more or less like he feels bad about what he's done, and he thought was like, oh, Sir Atticus, he's a bit of a brute and he goes headfirst in things and doesn't plan things out well. Like, why should I go to you effectively? And I went to Liat because she seemed to like have experience with things, and he chose piss poor. Dame Georgie should have gone to you, Sir Atticus.
I don't know. I don't know about that. Georgie is just looking for a mentor. Sarah, Ernest, I don't know what it is about just this invisible man really contributing to slapstick comedy. Between the floating pair of pants a couple of sessions ago to just the audacity to walk up to the secret fight club and saying, hey, you, have we talked about your like family trauma before? Yeah, we talked about it. And then offending like the guy who runs it effectively. And then just, again, rolling with the failure, as Jack said, and saying, they're going to beat this invisible person so bloody, they'll be able to see them. Like, yeah, okay. I do wish, I hope that Atticus and Ernest can go back to Bout Club, and we can patch things with Jester for the sole purpose of having Ernest's Quicksilver tongue act as a color commentator while Atticus is fighting in Bout Club. I would love that, but that is me trying to change the genre of the game into comedy. Mads, thank you for giving La Hortencia an opportunity to tell her story. I think we talked about this, but just like trying to piece together how did this family that according to all the hints should be like a normal loving family do the whole cannibalism thing. I'm glad that we could like see that and see La Hortencia give a different perspective of remorse. Seeing my fellow hunter was a surprise. That is a very unique take on a 7. I liked it. I need to invite her to tea, which is another wish. Hopefully making tea just as well as my dearly departed friend once did. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. And I finally got my custom move, and I want to show that off during the next night phase. Also, warning, I am up to 16 marks because I don't remember if I marked the X for when I took Darkened Threshold. I probably should. I don't
you
know if I
did.
did.
Yeah, I
I
thought
did.
you already did.
Yeah, I
Okay,
thought you
good.
did.
Okay. Don't want to double dip on that because we're getting very close. And with a demon and an underground fight club and the last cannibal person, I don't think we can really handle the beast at this moment. Our hands are kind of full. On that, if we do manage to resolve Fig's Pigs, and I do somehow manage to get 4 marks before the next dawn phase, does that lock us in at 3, or?
I
What do you
think
mean?
Can be introduced on top of 3. Like
Yes.
it can create
Yeah,
4.
beast is right.
Okay.
But you won't get a new, like 3 is the threshold. So if
Okay.
you introduce it when we only have 2, we're not going to get additional ones stacked on top of it.
Okay, cool. So I'm gonna.
I wouldn't worry about that if I were you, because remember the hot mess that we ended up in last season. Thank you very much.
Where we
all right?
had like 3 extra playbook threats. Yeah, trying to avoid that.
Yeah.
But okay.
But it was fun.
It
was
was.
good. It's great. Okay. It's beautiful. Sarah?
I have a lot of echoing stars. I also enjoyed Dame Georgie leaning into failure, and I felt like because I was so actively supporting it, I had to follow suit, and then follow suit, and then just go home. No, I like this as a wish. This is a growing moment for Ernest, because at this point, not only failing up as much as he did as a director and then becoming invisible means you quite literally get to avoid all of the consequences of your actions if you want to. I think this being confronted with my own mortality is going to be a really interesting character shift for him. He's going to have to come to terms with some new sets of feelings.
Change harried into confronting mortality.
Excellent. I'm making a note. I too have a star for our loveless dice. I apologize for bringing the curse to the table. I knew it was going to happen. I probably should have just stayed home. There was a moment where, Mike, you had a whip in your hand and you did, instead of a mic drop, like a whip drop, like out of shock. That was really fantastic in my head. Star for baklava out of nowhere. I was really tempted to have Ernest like eating his feelings and they'd be like baklava crumbs, but it didn't seem as tragic.
My wish is for that to be the morning.
Yes, that should be the morning. The morning
Excellent.
scene. Yes, make a note. Baklava crumbs or baklava.
Just an invisible sheet of like baklava crumbs and just tears. Like,
oh my god.
There was a funny moment where, Jack, you were telling the demon, you have sit down, you have a body, use it, and then you were surprised where it was a roll. It's like just commanding the demon to pilot the body around. Mads was gonna make that into a problem. What else? I really enjoyed our collective paint the scene for the unseen. I felt like we all kind of hit a fun expanding note as we built upon the same vision, as opposed to sometimes we each tell our own thing, and this time it was building upon itself, which I thought was super cool. Another star for the human La Hortencia. It was heartbreaking and tragic and beautiful, Mads. Thank you so much. I think that for wishes, I'm curious as to how, because Ernest doesn't have, for lack of a better turn of phrase, any skin in the game when it comes to the current like demon, vampire, demon, immortal, time looping. Like there's a lot of stuff that I just don't think that he's been hovering around the edges of the weirdness, and I am curious to see how he gets enveloped in, and if there will be like a moody, broody depression that leads him down that path. It'll be interesting. Other wishes, I am looking forward to seeing Sir Atticus make tea. I want a tea roll. That is my wish. I want him to have to roll to make good tea. Other than that, just fun as always. More of this, please.
Oh, another wish I have is to make my custom move. I wasn't planning on like doing this so soon, but based on like what has happened, I think I need to bust it out. I'm taking inspiration from the Limehouse Lurker because that's a very good vampire threat. And well, yeah, I think we're gonna see some more interesting ways that the Between handles vampires.
I'm just gonna, in that case, I'm also gonna remind you, you all still have access to the Man in the Sun mask, even this season. So, and I need to see these custom moves. So
Yep.
yeah, Atticus, make sure that you send it over to me before you break it out. I mean, if you sent it to me already, I apologize because it's like in the string of
I
DMs.
did. It is pinned in our discussion.
Okay, I'm a dork. So basically, we've had a big, long discussion. We've had long discussions. So anyway,
I'll send it to you once I write it, because that's all I have so far.
sure. Echoing all the stars. Just gonna make this quick because I do want to put in the stinger scene before you guys leave. It is a different feel altogether when you guys roll with the miss. It is a challenge. It is more challenging for me because then I have to see how bad it is to actually like try to figure out how much worse it ends up being, and then seeing if you really want to go with it. And then when you make it worse and you go with it, I'm just like, how much more can I pile on and not have my heart broken? Okay, so maybe you're breaking me out of the softy keeper habit. So okay, that's good. That's good. That's a star for that. So that's awesome. And everybody going through their different scenes with the misses was amazing. I mean, again, I do not have to worry about this group like, being at a loss for words or like not knowing what to do next. You're all very capable, you're all very experienced, and this shows. And that's what makes the drama, that's what makes the scene so much richer, because it's like you're playing off of each other and getting into all sorts of trouble. Yes, I love playing to lose. Yeah, absolutely. That's why I was thinking, it's like, I'm starting to get trophy vibes out of this thing. What the hell? Yeah, no, I mean, it's all good. And I appreciate you all for it. So stars all around. So many specific things to describe either like your unseens or your descriptions, your narrations of what was going on in the scene, and describing your situation. Again, stars, wishes, too many, so many conditions, so many, well, the limit of threats at the moment, but I just want to see you guys resolve it and see how it goes. Try to introduce more wishes for me to introduce more of the layers and like really like dig into this Queen of Hearts, because this is still a play test and this is still a mastermind that has not been widely seen, at least. And it's like I want to see how, not only how you guys react to her, but also how I will portray her and using everything that Ben has written. So I mean, again, trying to make this very complete and wanting to make sure that you guys have a good experience with this. Having fun getting in trouble. I think that should be the tagline for this show, for this season. I mean, my God, all master resolved, and we will see how these vulnerable scenes pan out for next time. And to end this particular session tonight, I want to do a little stinger. Title cards. It's a set of scenes. It starts in 1516. You see a young Mary raised in captivity. She's dreaming about sanctuary, becoming queen, a ruler somehow. And she knows that her future is about marrying well, marrying politically. Her father marries her off to a succession of foreign princes. Prince this from here and prince that from there. But, strangely, the scenes end with each of the men winding up exsanguinated. And just as the scenes fade to black, a view of ruby red lips tinged with deep red blood. Then it switches to a spinal scene as it fades, as blood rushes forth from corners of London, a darkening London. Blood rushes forth in great rivers, and they all flow to Buckingham Palace. That is where we end tonight's session. Have a wonderful week. Shall see you next Friday to continue onward with this dramatic mess, lovely as it is. Happy gaming if I don't see you for anything else in between. Oh my gosh. See you guys. Thank you so much.